Please rise in body or spirit for the gathering song 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. These words of the 13th century Persian poet Rumi, a leader of the early Sufi movement in Islam, were set to music by Unitarian Universalist Reverend Lynn Ungar. We'll sing this 3 times through, all in unison, and our guests Sadie and Liam will be playing the harmonies or the canon on their flute and viola. Please welcome Kevin Shen on piano.
Good morning. Welcome to the Mount Diablo Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm the Reverend Leslie Takahashi, and my pronouns are she and her. And we are very glad to be gathering here this morning on this important day when we extend our worship beyond our regular time to also have the worship of our congregational meeting, because that is also a way that we put our values into action. So this is a special day. And if you're visiting us today, welcome. We're glad you've chosen to be part of our week here in the sanctuary, in the Borton Hall if you need more room, or on our stream this morning. And we're glad to welcome you back if you're on campus for the first time in a while. We'll say to our visitors that we are having a congregational meeting right after, so if we seem to be rushing around just a little bit, please know that we still want to be welcoming and hope that you will ask for what you need. We will have a virtual coffee hour online for 15 minutes after the service, so you can say hello. If you're visiting, we hope that you will sign a visitor's card, either here on campus in the Borton Hall or virtually on our website. If you are in need of a listening ear, our pastoral listeners are on campus, and you will see them near the water column during the offertory, which can help you identify them if it would be helpful to have someone listen today. Our signups for the winter round of community circles are coming to a close, and I want to give you a special push for one thing, which is the day Thursday. What a nice day, Thursday. You know, it's near the end of the week. We happen to have a community circle that's during the day and one in the evening. Both of those have room. So if you particularly want to do something great to kind of spruce up your Thursday and give yourself some extra connection, sign up after the service for the Thursday community service circle. You can also do that on the website as well. We will have today childcare for our congregational meeting with snacks. So no children will starve during the congregational meeting. Adults, that's a different issue. There is a table in Borton Hall where we're filling out notes for the Trinity breakfast bags next month. People can stop by, Reverend Rodney says, and write a personal note that will be placed in each of those bags. We're going to have an abbreviated coffee hour, so this is especially good for those of you that write fast and clearly. Welcome to this beloved community.
Good morning. I'm Mark Chase. I'm a member of your Board of Trustees, and my pronouns are he and him. Welcome to our service. Mount Diablo Unitarian Universalist Church is a welcoming faith community. We begin our services by reading our mission together. We bring to life our Unitarian Universalist values as we seek truth and work for justice, nurture compassion and courage, reach out to each other and to our larger community of faith, bridge the divisions that wound the human family, transform ourselves and our world. January is a great time to get involved. Please check out the weekly email and Beacon newsletter for the many, many things that we have happening here. We're so glad to have you with us. Our expectation is those who are inside are vaccinated and fully boosted and have no symptoms of any of the communicable things going around. Thank you for honoring this commitment to keep one another safe. And we do have our congressional meeting today at noon to discuss bylaws, and we do need a quorum today. This is an important part of our democratic process and follows 2 informational forums in which we took questions from members. So please stick around if you can. And welcome. It's good to be together.
So this is the time when we greet one another. I invite you to do so on the chat if you are on our YouTube channel, and if you're on our stream and want to move over to our YouTube channel, it's just MDUUC YouTube. And if you're in the sanctuary, I invite you to just make sure you would greet each other enthusiastically for being the people that are at the service and at the meeting. There you go.
Good morning. I'd like to invite the children and those young at heart to come forward and join me during this time. My name is Nasa Matt. I am a member of your Board of Trustees, and I use the pronouns she and her. And I have the privilege of welcoming the children who were born among us in 2023. So we are grateful for this congregation's continued commitment to a program for children and youth. We celebrate each and every one of you, and we love to witness your growth, your energy, and the unfolding of your lives. Mount Diablo Unitarian Universalist Church is mindful of you and how special you are to all of us. I'm glad to read the name of the child who was born among us this year, remembering the words of Sophia Lyons-Foss, who said that each night a child is born is a holy night. We are grateful that our friends Tim, Nancy, and Naomi are sharing baby Gio with us this year. May we continue to welcome the energy and wisdom of all of our children.
For our chalice lighting this morning, I offer the words of the Reverend Dr. Rebecca Savage. This is a chalice of audacious hope. This chalice shines a light on our shared past, signaling our intention to listen deeply, reflect wisely, and move boldly toward our highest ideals.
All right, I have a story for you all today called What Would You Do? Our time for all ages this morning is a time of make-believe. I'd like you to put your imagination caps on so that we can all pretend. Oh, yes, very literally. Let's all put our imagination caps on. I like that. Yes. Now, raise your hand if you've ever been to a baseball game. Ooh, we've got a lot of baseball fans out there. How many of you follow a team that you think of as your team? Raise those hands. Yeah. Uh-huh. Does anybody down here feel like they have a team that they follow? It does not have to be baseball. It could be other teams. Who has a team? Yeah. 49ers. I heard some 49er fans out there. Okay. Well, I have some bad news. I know. Remember, this is a game of pretend. I need you to imagine this. I just received an advance copy of a statement that will be released tomorrow by our governor. It's very surprising. You won't believe what it says. Okay, here's the excerpt. Hear ye, all citizens of California, effective immediately, are hereby notified that baseball is now illegal within our borders. From today onward, it is absolutely forbidden to watch baseball, to play baseball, or go to a baseball game. You can't even stand in your backyard with a ball and a bat. If you must, buy a Frisbee or kick around a soccer ball. Don't ask why. We have reasons, and we mean it. No matter how old you are or which team you used to root for, you will be in huge trouble and go to jail for a long time if you watch or play baseball in the state of California, starting today. Right? I know. Baseball's going to be illegal? What are we going to do? Now, remember, this is just pretend. Let's pretend. What would you do if you could go to jail for playing baseball or even just watching it? Does anybody have some thoughts? What would you do if you heard that baseball was illegal? Does anybody have any ideas? Oh, yes. Here, come tell me in the microphone. What would you do?
I would be really worried because some of my classmates play baseball.
Some of the classmates might play baseball anyway.
And if someone play baseball, if you go to jail, you will never come out.
Ooh, yes, we wouldn't want that. Any other thoughts? You want to say something, Eli?
I play for the baseball. No.
You might play baseball anyway? Uh-oh. Well, Eli's going to play baseball anyway. Yeah. So some possible responses could be, I don't care, I'm playing baseball anyway. I don't care if I end up going to jail. Or some other people might say, I think I'll go to Nevada. It's still legal there. Some people might say, fine, then let's go to the Capitol and protest there. We'll try to reverse the law. Some people might continue watching baseball or playing baseball in secret with people that they trust not to tell. All of those are possible responses. Maybe this new law doesn't affect you, so you shrug it off. Maybe you didn't like baseball anyway. Maybe the threat of prison scares you enough to stop or to sneak around. Maybe you leave California every time you want to hit a few balls or watch a team play. Nevada sounds cool. This may sound like a funny example to talk about, but there are countries where doing simple, everyday things are forbidden. A lot of the time, those forbidden things have to do with speaking your mind or practicing your religion. Imagine that you woke up tomorrow and found out that it was against the law to be Unitarian Universalist or to talk about Unitarian Universalist beliefs. Nearly 500 years ago in Europe, people got tired of being told that there was only one way to practice religion. They began to read the Bible themselves, and they thought about it, which meant that they started coming up with new religious beliefs. A few of them were our religious ancestors. They were a part of a movement called the Radical Reformation, and they talked about a new religious belief that we, today, would call Unitarian. These brave people began to practice being Unitarians even though it was forbidden. They could get into a lot of trouble, and they did. Some of them said, I'll stop. It's not that important to me. I'll go along with what we're supposed to believe. Some of them said, I'll be a Unitarian in secret with people that I trust, and in public, I'll pretend to go along with what I'm told. Some of them said, I'm out of here, and they left the places that it was most dangerous to be a Unitarian and tried to find countries where it was safer. A few of them said, nope, I'm going to be Unitarian anyway and talk about my beliefs even if it gets me into trouble because I can't deny my conscience and my faith. The truth is, we needed all of those early Unitarians, the ones like Michael Servetus, who died because of his courage and his faith, the ones who fled to other countries like Faustus Socinus, the ones who practiced and taught Unitarian beliefs in secret, and maybe we even needed the people who said, it's not that important, because they got to make a choice. You'll be happy to know that it's safe to play and watch baseball in California. But I hope you'll also be happy to be a Unitarian Universalist. Let's be grateful for the people throughout the past 500 years who made sure that we could inherit this faith and take care of it for the next generations. Thank you. And now I'd like to invite you to join us in singing the children to their classes and activities.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jim Lincoln. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. So I have been a Unitarian Universalist since I was 5 years old, which was a long time ago. I've really never been involved in any other religious faith. I'm fascinated when I hear UUs who weren't raised in our faith talk about the life paths they took to getting here. Reverend Rodney spoke very movingly last Sunday, I thought, of his sincere but quite unsuccessful efforts as a young Baptist to embrace Jesus and be born again as an evangelical true believer. For him and others among you, I think, finding MDUUC and the UU faith more generally was a liberating and transformative experience. I'm actually a little bit envious because I never had that experience. I've never known or wanted any other religious affiliation than UU. Although I have a deep interest in religion and philosophy, I know something about the traditions and teachings of other faiths, and I do find things in some of them that I respect and admire. Japanese Buddhism and Shinto have special appeal, as Carrie and I lived in Japan a number of years and often visited its lovely temples, shrines, and Zen-inspired gardens. I've always been very comfortable with the foundational values, principles, and beliefs of UUism. Our rendering of the sacred and divine, for example, in terms such as the mystery of creation, the vastness of the universe, the majesty of nature, the power of love. I value our faith's long-standing support of rationality and science. The iconic statement of this in UU history being William Ellery Channing's 1819 Baltimore sermon. If you haven't read it, I really recommend it. But I also value the non-cognitive ways of knowing and experience that have a place in UU history as well, at least back to Emerson and the Transcendentalists. These, the mystical and emotive paths to enlightenment that are taught in Buddhism, Taoism, and the earth-centered faiths, have really become quite popular among UUs today. Our progressive social values and strong justice agenda mean a great deal to me, even though I'm not as active as I should be. There are so many opportunities that are regularly compiled and disseminated to the congregation by our ministerial staff and our volunteer justice champions to get involved, bear witness, and work to solve the dire problems facing our community, nation, and world. As a denomination, we have a long and proud history of fighting injustice. Our numbers may be small, but with persistence and determination, we can make a difference. Step by step, the longest march can be won, as the Pete Seeger song in the Gray Hymnal goes. Finally, I greatly treasure our warm and supportive congregational as well as denominational community that connects us to one another as an extended family and is reliably here to celebrate our joys and console and aid us in our sorrows. My identity as a UU is very strong. This is the only religion I've ever had and all I ever felt I needed. I'm so glad I'm in this faith community with all of you and on this journey together. So I invite you now to come, let us worship together.
Please rise and body your spirit, for come and go with me This African American hymn was from slavery times, is both a promise of deliverance and a call to action. It was arranged for us by Kenny Smith, music director of a congregation in Cincinnati, Ohio, Unitarian congregation. We will sing all 4 verses. Come and go with me to the land. 10:18. Come and go with me to the land. Come and go with me to the land where I'm bound. Come and go with me to the land. Come and go with me to the land. Come and go with me to the land where I'm bound. Justice. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. Now it's justice. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. Sing it. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm
Good morning. I'm Andrew Oswald. My pronouns are he and him. And together with Travis McPhee, we're going to honor those who died, honor the members of our congregation who died in 2023.
Before we start this ritual where Andrew will read the names of people who have passed away, I wanted to say something quickly about bowing. Bowing comes from many traditions, and I first picked it up from Zen Buddhism. I understand bowing as a way to honor the infinitude and sacredness in another, and to recognize that I am grateful for and nurtured by their presence. So during this ritual, I will bow after each person's name is read to honor their life and to wish them peace. I invite you to bow as well if you feel comfortable and called.
When we lose someone to death, we stop to remember and mourn. This year we lost many whose presence among us enriched and honored us, and whose contributions made this congregation what it is. May pause for a moment to remember and to recall as the names are read, with the special honoring which Travis has just explained. Krista Bogart.
Alex Castle.
Jan Cooper.
Bob Hansen.
Ingrid Honan.
Lee Lampo.
Shirley Lorette.
Livia Sargent.
D. Simmons.
Bill Steenberg.
Thank you.
Please stay seated for our music meditation. 123, Spirit of Life, words and music by Carolyn McDade, harmonies by Grace Lewis McLaren. Spirit of Life was written as a prayer by Carolyn McDade, a feminist activist, songwriter, and leader in the movement opposing U.S. policies in Central America. We will sing it twice through.
Let us take another moment and acknowledge those names that were just read, those amazing lives who helped contribute to this place as it is today. Let us hold them in our hearts in this special service, which I am honored to share with our Board of Trustees. I invite you to join me in the spirit of meditation and the deep ask of prayer this morning. I invite you just to settle in for just a moment. Let go of all your thoughts of the practical details of bylaws and other things for just a moment. Let us be together in this awesome enterprise that we undertake every week, every day, being a community in a world that does not value community as much as it should. Spirit of life, God of many names, whose highest name is love, infinite mystery we can know only as the more. Today, into this space, we speak our aspirations, those things that we plan to do, hope to do, dream to do, and cannot realize easily, cannot realize alone, must only realize in the company of others. We are here in this place doing something that is increasingly countercultural, which is coming together to name that we do have hopes, that we do have dreams, that we do have aspirations, not only for our lives, for the lives of those we love, for the lives of those we share space and time and experience with in this community, also for the greater world, that we have hopes and dreams as our spiritual ancestors did before us, and they passed those down to us, and we cherish them along with our own. I'm going to read again what we read here every week at the beginning of our service. It is the mission statement of this congregation, crafted through its own struggles and questionings and comings together. It will change someday, as all things do. But for this moment and this morning, I ask you to hold in your heart it as a meditation, asking yourself where you are in relationship to all of its parts as we read it together in this sacred space. Mount Diablo Unitarian Universalist Church is a welcoming faith community, welcoming. We bring to life our Unitarian Universalist values, those values that have been passed down to us age after age, as we seek truth, as we work for justice in a world of growing inequality, as we nurture compassion and courage in a world that invites us to just disconnect, to seek our own private solace, to turn away. As we reach out to each other and to our wider, larger community of faith, as we bridge the divisions that wound the human family and which have wounded many of our individual lives. And finally, as we pledge anew to transform ourselves and our world. These are not small aspirations, so we hold them here today in this shared space made sacred by our willingness and our good-spirited engagement with one another. May we carry them close to our hearts in the days to come. May we do what is ours to do, our part, and may we be open to the sparks of another, so that together we may move forward to the world that we wish to see. Amen, amen, and ashe.
across a stormy sea. We look to reincarnation to explain our lives.
Hey there! This is our building on the hill. We are a community that celebrates our ability to center love and as a daily expression of Unitarian Universalism. This centering of love empowers us all to appreciate diversity of thought and lived experience. Today, we are honoring those who came before us in our faith tradition and specifically in this amazing congregation, as well as acknowledging those new to this community. This kind of ritual, marking the ways that our past intersect with our possibilities for the future, is a practical way to help us build resilience for our current moral struggles. Life can sometimes feel like a labyrinth, especially when faced with complex moral dilemmas. Our faith acts as both a compass and a guiding light, helping us navigate through these twists and turns. Honoring those who came before us is like entering a magical library. In this case, the Mount Diablo Unitarian Universalist Church archives. It's like stepping into a realm where wisdom and knowledge flow freely. Here is where we discover the journeys of those who walked these paths before us and hope to learn the lessons of their ability to keep on the path of justice and community building, even in the direst of times.
Good morning. My name is Kevin Shea. My pronouns are he and him. I'm a member of your Board of Trustees. I'm a little disappointed Rodney's not in the sanctuary right now, but Rodney, if you're out there watching, no notes. If you had an order of service, I'm not Mark Chase. My name is Kevin Shea, I said. We don't use orders of service, handing them out anymore as a regular practice. And things have changed in my nearly 25 years coming here to Mount Diablo Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm glad to see that we actually have the pledge envelopes, or the donation envelopes in the back of the sanctuary. And there are pens back there if you need to write out a check or something like that, or put your name on it, because I wrote a check but don't have my name on the envelope. But I want to say that church is not a spectator sport. This congregation is not a spectator sport. When we read the mission statement, I was struck It's constantly we. We are the church. We are what makes this happen. We are the community. And that takes showing up, takes participation, in worship, it takes participation in congregational meetings, it takes participation in religious education, and for the spiritual journey is not a solo endeavor. My spiritual journey would not be nearly what it has been. In fact, it would be virtually non-existent if it wasn't for the interactions with this community in Unitarian Universalism. So, talking about participation, now, one of the ways we participate is by donating money. And I will do something that I have not done in years, and that is to take my pledge check and put it into an envelope and give it to an usher. Kind of excited. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to feel. I might cry. But that's just me. The ushers will now come forward to receive our offerings. And if you're online, you can go to the Give Now button at the top of the page. Before we dedicate our offerings, I'd just like to, again, thank Liam for that beautiful music. To the point of which seemed like 100 prayers with the dropping of the stones. Now it's time to dedicate our offerings. To the work of this community in transforming ourselves and our world, we dedicate ourselves and our offerings.
All right. Good morning. My name is Jana Contreras. My pronouns are she and hers, and I'm a member of your Board of Trustees.
And my name's Sharon Solstice, and my pronouns are also she and hers.
This is the part of this service where we have the pleasure of welcoming our new members. Our members are our lifeblood, what makes our congregation grow and flow, and we are grateful to be welcoming new members in this age and time. As we read the names, remember your own joining and the passion and excitement you had, and rekindle that for our time.
We know that we should never take the addition of new members for granted, and I ask you to join me in vowing to always be welcoming and try to meet new people each and every Sunday when we're on campus.
Emily Adelman.
Marcy Beatty.
Lynn Boone.
Ella Borland.
Michael Brucker.
Susan Cooper.
John Cooper.
Thomas Kreiderman.
Janet Danziger.
B. Defner.
Nicholas Deach.
Phoenix Dover.
Wes Vanhani.
Trudy Foote.
Jeff Hearns.
Christopher Heskey.
Maria Hunt.
Glenn Youngman Kim.
Marie McGuire.
Therese McCluskey.
Radhika Mellon.
Richard Mellon.
Marla Moore.
Chris Morris.
Amy Mosley.
Hannah Nallo.
Tioga Nelson.
Kiona Newkirk.
Brandon Peel.
Andrea Quigley.
Leslie Rywich.
Jameson Requejo.
Fenella Robinson.
Linda Ruiz.
Lynn Scobie.
Richard Scobie.
Forrest Sinclair.
Michael Stanfield.
Chris Steger.
Bob Switzer.
Perry Talmadge. Let us honor all of those who have chosen to join their life energy to this congregation.
Well, I will say that the reading of those names brought tears to my eyes. So many wonderful people, and we're so glad to have each and every one of you with us. I want to add to Kevin's thanks for Liam's beautiful music, our appreciation of our other guest musicians, Sadie, and our guest pianist, Glenn, today. We're grateful to have you here today. And I want to honor our board because their participation in so many things, including the service. And I want to say, and also including Janice Davis, who didn't get to introduce herself. Janice Davis, she, her, right there. So thanks to all of you. You know, tradition at its roots means things that are passed down. And if you think about traditional and you think about religion, you probably don't immediately think Unitarian Universalist. Not like in that
fiddler on the roof, all caps, tradition kind of way. And yet, we do have traditions, and they're very vital. And they may be more vital in the times to come. So in this particular service of the living tradition, I want to talk just for a few minutes, a little bit, about how we live the tradition, even if they are ever changing. We have traditions of what we work for, and we have the ways that we do them. And I'm going to start with the means, and we'll get to the ends. And I'm still going to try to get you out in time to have a cup of coffee before the meeting. So to begin with, the way we do it is we have a tradition of being democratic. And we'll see that today in our congregational meeting where we vote on some changes that are very important to the long-term survival of this congregation. And it has been this congregation's willingness to change that means that we read that list that we just read. It's remarkable. Believe me, when I talk to colleagues, that's not the list they're reading. This is an example of how we change when we need to grow. And we enact our traditions through our involvement in this world. Our justice work is such an important part of what we do in this congregation. We're not otherworldly people as a whole, though some of us may have our own beliefs about what happens after we die. We are people that know that it matters what we do right here, right now, in this world today. This one an important life that we know we have. And I think it's very important to remember that we are people who understand that our traditions are going to need to evolve. We believe in evolution. And as I said last week, perhaps that shouldn't be so controversial. So many years and centuries, actually, after those ideas were introduced. But we understand that there is a need for the change sometimes of understanding of our ideas and also of our hearts and of our ways of being. That is not something we can take for granted in this world when we're seeing so many manifestations of trying to go back in time, when we're seeing the banning of books in public libraries all over our nation, when we're seeing the clock turn back in so many ways, people trying to return to a time of fewer in the circle, particularly pernicious discrimination. We, when we do things, believe in our ability to make informed decisions, to consider the facts of the matter, and then participate in the decision-making, as we will do with these changes which the board has considered and which we've discussed in forums. We look at a repeat before us of one of the most frightening elections we have ever seen, the most frightening one, I will say, that I have ever seen. And we're having it stare us right in the face again. And so exercising our rights as part of our free religious tradition is something that is really important. Sometimes we say that our congregations are laboratories for democracy, and we're training our children and our young people in how important those traditions are too when they come among us. It allows us to continue to reach out and be in the world on these essential issues that are before us, like protecting the right to people's, especially women's, bodily autonomy, and the commitment to a moral economy that allows all to live with dignity. And how we work, if you look at us over the centuries, is that we gradually widen and widen and widen the circle of concern to be inclusive of people who want, for example, to use reason as their guide, or inclusive of people who others have not seen as fully people, inclusive of people whose rights have been denied. We have not been perfect about this because we were among those who came to these shores seeking this kind of freedom, and that had huge costs on the people who were already here, our indigenous brethren, our indigenous cousins. And yet, the ideas that founded our nation are the same ideas we were experimenting with about how to govern our congregations. So our journey has been very much one of accompaniment together, and we understand now that we must keep widening those circles to include all the creatures of this planet in this time of global climate change. And finally, we allow ourselves to keep learning. And no time in our history have we been required to have quite so much learning. Things just keep moving, adapting, and changing. But it's very important in this world where we're understanding that we have to be willing to keep responding to the systematic changes that are being manifest in people trying to narrow who can hold power, political power, in an increasingly majority-minority country, or the power of businesses to monopolize and not share their profits through the taxation that has fueled our economy and our well-being for all these centuries. In our tradition, we are safeguarding these important ways of doing what we do. It's what we protect, and the world needs us not to take it for granted in the same way that we know now, and even more so now than 5 or 6 years ago, that we can never take our national democracy for granted. Tradition, as I said, at its roots is about things that are passed down from one generation to the next. And unlike your great-grandmother's chair or the millions of family photos, the what of what we pass down is a tradition centered on embracing love with a commitment to promoting justice and pluralism, recognizing our interdependence with one another, striving for a world with more equity and generosity, and supporting each of us in the transformations that we need to make all of that possible. So, before we go, let's make a commitment to ourselves to keep living the traditions.
Please rise, embody your spirit to join us for the closing song, 1064. And in case I didn't say it earlier, I think I didn't. My name is Ondine Young. Any pronouns are fine. And I'm thrilled for all of the Liams and Kevins that are here, my son Liam and young Skeen. And this is Kevin Shen at the piano. We have Sadie Hewitt on flute. Many new faces in the choir. I'm grateful for all of them. Please welcome them and join us. The closing song, 1064 Blue Boat Home, was by Peter Meyer, composed in the variation of Hifridal, one of his favorite melodies, which he grew up singing in the church, and wrote the words to refer to life on this earth as a grand seafaring journey. All three verses.
Still I drive Our benediction today is by the Reverend Cheryl M. Walker. We know we cannot go backwards, but we do not know quite how to go forward. Our ministry is to call us to honor what is good and right from our past, to appreciate who we are today, and to imagine the future of whom and what we long to be.